It's live, very good early evening to all of you. Welcome to another virtual fireside chat with Anil Vanwari. Hi, I'm the founder, CEO, editor-in-chief of the IndianTelevision.com group, which includes your favorite websites, IndianTelevision.com, Telechecker.com, and of course, your eternal favorite, the Indian Tele Awards. I trust all of you guys are doing good wherever you are, and gals too, mind you, staying at home and following all the safety protocols if you have to go out to buy your groceries and using disinfectants, sanitizers every time you pick up something from the counter, like I do when I go out. And remember, take a shower, change your clothes, and put the ones that you discarded for washing. It's important to be safe. It's important to be safe because it's important to stay alive. Because we were born to be alive. Great. I'm sure you must be waiting for a guest for the day. He has something in common with John Abraham. You know that handsome hunk, John Abraham?
Oh,
Guess what? He too began in advertising before turning to creating some of the snazziest productions we have seen, beginning with Ambadara, and his last one was Ram Siya Ke Love Kush on Colors TV. In between, he had Chandragupta Maurya, Porus, then Gyan Guru, Mahabharat. How could I forget Mahabharat? I mean, I'm being stupid. Razia Sultan, Begusarai, then there was Balkrishna, then Porus, the big one, Porus, which traveled all the way to Japan, amongst the first Indian shows to be shown over there. And today, Siddharth Kumar Tiwari runs a media behemoth, which is in TV, digital originals, animation, visual effects, syndication, and distribution, and even owns quite a few shooting floors. A big welcome to Siddharth Kumar Tiwari, who I must tell you is my neighbor in Lokhandwala complex. In fact, my flat overlooks into his bungalow and can even talk to each other from I from my toilet, he from his balcony. In fact, I see him playing football with his good-looking son sometimes in the evenings. You might ask me, why did I not drop into his house for this chat? Well, we were adhering to social distancing. It's better to go via Zoom. So, how are you today, Siddharth?
hi, Anil. I'm very, very good. I'm safe and happy in my house, overlooking your house. So it's great. Thanks for inviting me for this.
No, the pleasure is entirely mine. How's the lockdown been treating you?
Yeah, it's been. I think it really gave me a lot of time. I think it was very good because in the beginning it was very good. Now it's getting to me a lot. But overall, it's been a very interesting experience. I never expected to stay at home for such long hours and long days and months now, because that's not me as a personality. I normally am a workaholic, so it was a little tough. But the best part has been my family time, the time that I am spending with my kids and my family. That's been really, really. I think it's been one of the best experiences ever. So it's been definitely different, not the expected, but it's been great fun. It's something that I was never thought I would be exposed to, but it's great fun.
Fantastic. Good to hear that you got time with family. I know you used to be working late nights, all the changes that channels requested at times. I know you're a guy who you told the channel, I'll do it my way and I'll get you the ratings. And you did get them the ratings. But now let's talk about a career. You began in advertising and now you're producing. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Basically, I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. I grew up there. I always wanted to do what I'm doing now, but didn't really know the way to go about things. Eventually, with doing my master's in Pune, I came to Bombay. I started working in advertising, and I was with URSCG and moved on to JWT. And while I was working there, I realized that this is not what I came here for. And one fine day, one early morning, I went to office and I just was having my morning tea, like just what you're having now. It was not ginger tea, it was masala tea. And I just went in and told them that I want to quit because I came here to tell stories, I came here to write and direct, and this is not where my career is going. I eventually quit that and moved around, tried a lot to get an AD's job across different production houses at that point in time. And from there, I wasn't that lucky, didn't get any opportunity as such. Post that, I had no money, life was tough in this city because couldn't ask my parents to help me out. And I got a job in marketing in Sony Entertainment Television. So I was in the Max marketing department. I joined marketing. That was a very interesting aspect again. I got into that because I used to handle the brand of Max while I was in advertising in the agency, and spent another 2-3 years there. Then moved to Sony Programming, and as I used to keep on writing all the time, thinking of new ideas. Eventually, I had an idea which I thought we should tell this story, and that made me just quit my job. And I came out. I tried my level best, made a pilot, did all of that as a journey to make Sony believe, Mr. NP Singh and Mr. Kunal Das Gupta believe that yes, I can do it, and that's how Ambardhara came into existence. That's how our first show Ambardhara came on air. So
Tell us a bit about
that's in a
Ambadara.
nutshell.
Tell us a
Yeah,
bit about Ambadara. How did the idea come to you? It's about two conjoined twins, right? It's about
yeah. I
conjoined
had
twins.
yeah. There was this news article, basically a news piece that came at that point in time, which gave me an idea about two conjoined twins being operated. And I thought that with Sony being a progressive brand and with Sony, wanting to make content which was not the regular soap dramas, I thought this subject, these two people are conjoined together. What would their lives be? How would they live? What would, if they have two different minds? They have one body, but they have two different minds. How would they think? How would they live together? So I read a lot on. There were a lot of books already there in the market. There were true stories in the world on them. I researched a lot on how their lives would be, and then came up with this whole thought of Ambardhara. Ambardhara basically means Ambar means sky and Dhara means earth. So they are two distinct characters, Ambar and Dhara, stuck together. And that was a thought, and that's the thought behind the name also. They're two different people, but they are incomplete without each other. So what's the sky without the earth? So that was
So
a thought.
could you
So
remake that now for the digital universe?
oh
Seems
yeah,
interesting.
uh, yeah, giving it a thought. Thanks for the idea. I'll think about this.
Yeah, because it's still relevant. I mean, I haven't seen too many stories like this. It'll be quite interesting. It could be
Yeah, it needs to
edgy.
be
It could be
told
different.
differently. That needs
Absolutely.
to be told differently in today's times. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
but a very very interesting journey because it took me close to a year to more than a year actually to go about doing a lot of things because setting up because I never thought that I would become a producer. And the basic thought was that if you wanted to tell a story, you need to be backed by a production house or someone had to put in a lot of money. And I'm a professor's child. My father was a teacher. I'm a teacher's son, so we didn't really have anything.
What did he teach?
So
What did
he was
dad
a head
teach?
of he was the head of accounts in St. Xavier's College, Calcutta.
Wow.
He was a very respected person in Calcutta in the accounts. He was a teacher, very very known, respected teacher, in a professor in Calcutta. So I had to go around figuring out how to do things, how it will happen, because I met up with a lot of people trying to figure out that can you support me in telling this story. But eventually, me and my then partner Vikas, he was also used to work with Sony then. So we decided that let's do it ourselves, and that's how I quit my job first. Then he joined in later, and then we started working on it. It took us a year. We went through our complete journey to see this come to life.
Wow. So basically, before that, I remember you telling me that you produced a promo, which was approved by. I remember you telling me some years ago. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
share us something about the promo which you produced while you were
Yeah,
in Sony.
yeah. Basically, for Ambardhara, you're asking, right?
No, I'm talking about the promo which was aired on.
Yeah, I had
Which
a I had a short film. That was my first
yeah,
short film.
yeah.
It was
Sorry, it was a
basically
short film. I stand
yeah,
corrected.
it was a short film, and while working at Sony, I had this thought about how people treat people so differently depending on where they come from, and that's how you treat people, not by who they are. So it was a very simple thought. It was just a depiction of what happens in India on a traffic signal. So it was basically a traffic light goes red and a Mercedes comes and stops. And there's a man sitting inside who's reading a newspaper with Economic Times and all that. And he looks to his left, and a normal car comes and stops. And the car guy looks very hopefully at the Mercedes that he wants to own it someday. And his eyes meet with the owner of the car, the guy sitting behind. And he just looks at him and shuns him off, as in like, who are you? Look at me. Now the car guy feels very bad. And while he is ups his music and he looks to his left, he sees a bike guy come and stand next to him. So now the bike guy looks at the car guy, thinking that, oh, what you have, I don't. And he is aspirational towards that. And the car guy looks at him and shuns him down. And this guy feels very bad. And that's when he sees someone coming on his left. And as he turns left to see and pass on that emotion, he suddenly realizes that it's a man on a wheelchair who's riding his tricycle, and that small, simple human being just looks at him and gives him a smile. And this guy on the bike just looks at him and realizes that, oh, I made a mistake. And it says humanity will go another mile if you just smile. It was about being human. So
Wow, that's
that was
very
the
touching.
that's something
Uh,
that I had made then, with zero money, with nothing, and we really just pulled it off in a few hours at Marine Drive. I still remember. That was a while back. Good that you remember it.
Yeah, well, there are very industry is you're one of the more human characters going by the in this industry, human producers. You have a human touch, and I've seen your work and the way you deal with your people. You're the creative type. Your brother Rahul is a little bit of a tougher guy, but
I'm alive because of him.
I understand he keeps the production going. So, but I've seen that you're very human towards people, and even going by the little film you made shows that you have that human touch about you. That you're sensitive to what's going on around you, and that's how you can tell the stories that you do.
Thank you
So
so much.
fantastic, yeah. So fantastic. What happened? Ambadara happened. How did you produce it? It took you a year. You must have spent a lot of money.
Yeah, we actually there was this company called K Sarasara at that point in time, and they really, this person called Parag Sangvi. I actually remember him very, very well. He's still a friend of mine now, and he somehow saw some potential in me, and he thought of backing us with the money, and we just went all out. We had no idea. We lost a lot of money in Ambardara. We were in big, big losses in Ambardara, and we had to recover because it was someone else's money. And if we went back to our jobs, there was no way that we could have been able to pay him back for the kind of money that we had already lost. It was in crores. So luckily, at that point in time, we were trying to get more work and to recover our losses and pay things back. And I met up with Shumanto Roy at Sahara. The Sahara one was a broadcast at that point in time, and we did a show called Mata Ki Chauki. From Ambardhara, I made another show called completely different called Mata Ki Chauki, which actually did very, very well on Sahara one, and that's how we started getting a little stable. We started to understand how to do business because we had no business acumen. We were completely professionals who were working in an organization who had no idea how to run a business, because there are too many aspects that come into when you run a business, and who knows it better than you. So that's how. So we got into Mata Ki Chauki. That happened, and slowly we took a lot of time to repay back. But it basically, we learned by making a lot of mistakes. I call it entry fee. We always pay an entry fee when you enter somewhere. So it was an entry fee that I had to pay, I believe. And just after Mata Ki Chauki's success, we did a show called Agle Janam Mohe Bitiya Hi Kijo, which was the first time I think we showed rural India and poor people on primetime television. And that became a blockbuster as well.
Whose
So
idea was that? Was that yours or was that Ashwini and Rajesh's?
no, Ashwini wasn't there that time at Z. I was called by Sukesh, and Ajay Bharwankar was heading Z that
Okay,
time.
okay,
And
okay.
Ajay, they had a brief which was like they got a brief about let's do a story on this is a social issue that's happening in the country, which is about parents who are selling their children to stay alive. That was a brief given to me by them, and then we thought of the whole concept and how to tell the story and all of that. But the brief was given because I had gone and narrated a story which was similar, very close to in the zone that they were thinking. So after that, Ajay called me aside, and Ajay Bhalwankar is a great guy. He's a very nice person. He called me aside and told me that this is something that you have, but it's not in the same zone. We're looking at this is our brief. Can you just rework on your thought and create a new story around this? So that's how we got Agle Janam Mohi Bitiya Hi Kijo. That's how we made that series.
Fantastic. And then that made money for you, or you lost money again? Because I
No,
know
no,
you,
no.
I
My
know you
my
really
my
like.
fa- my father used to say that if you make a mistake once, it's okay. If you repeat it, you're a fool. So when you make mistakes, you need to learn from it. So we had our journey in learning how to with our first series. And of course, we are in a business which is very uncertain, and there are things that you do and you lose money. That's okay. That's part of business. You can't be in business only when you make profits. You need to be in business when you make losses. That's only when you are a businessman. If you are standing when you have losses, if you're only standing when you have profits, then you're in a different field. You're not in a business. So we made an
Have you
entry
heard of
fee.
have you heard of Mark Zuckerberg? Facebook.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
he only makes money.
I think there hardly anybody who doesn't know him. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know him.
So I'm just trying to tell you that he's making shitloads of money, as is Google,
Of course,
Alphabet.
of
Yeah.
course,
But
yeah.
continue with your journey. I was just trying to, be funny, which I'm not.
No, that was right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Continue.
so of course we had a share of learnings, and we really because my core objective was to just come out and tell a story, and how do I tell it to the best of my ability, and that was my core area of focus. I'm still not financially oriented. I very clearly don't think about how much money will this generate, because that's not how I work. My core always has been, let's tell this, and money definitely is important, but it's a byproduct of our actions. It's not the reason why at Swastik and One Life we do anything just for the sake of only making money. The core remains that yes, of course, it's business, so you need to be profitable to ensure that you're able to run and take care of all your people and grow from here. But the core objective is to tell a story and really do it well. Just keep on bettering yourself with what you do, so that you are challenged. Otherwise, there's nothing new to create every time. So that's been our philosophy always.
I understand. So you've made how many now? 22 serials? 22 series? Or 20? Or is it 80?
No, I think it's much more. I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, I think it's must be close to. I'm not sure, but it must be close to 30 odd, I think, by now.
Fantastic. So which of these have you had the most pleasure of doing? Which
Yeah,
of
there are
them
too
has been the
many.
most?
There is always something called first love, which I sure we all have, right? So first love always remains, because that's the reason why you stand and you go anywhere, because of all of your inexperiences, all the things that you just go out and do. Like, for example, just to tell you, we made a daily series called Ambardhara without a set. We did not
Hmm.
construct a set. So we had, because I wanted to write a series where, just like human life, you're not stuck into a house, you keep moving. So a story of two characters who kept moving. And since they were moving, I was moving everywhere myself, because it's an everyday series without understanding the practicalities of it. Every day we were hunting locations, trying to do different things. So Ambardhara will always be memorable for a lot of very interesting and nice positive memories. So that will be my first love any which ways. And of course, my second most favorite will be Mahabharat, because that's not something that, again, that's not something that when I was called by Star in 2009, and Mr. Vivek Behel called me, and he met me and he told me that, we want, I watched your series called Agle Janam, and we didn't know each other at all. And he told me that I watched your series, and I like the way you write your characters. I find them very interesting. So we want you to make a mythology for us. And I was like, mythology, okay. So and he said, you want to make Mahabharat for us. And I thought that, okay, really? So it just came to me, and but post that, Vivek eventually moved on, and Mr. Uday Shankar came in, Gaurav came in, Danish came in. It took me 5 years, but then that became my core. As I started working on it, I realized that I need to learn so much. I need to read so much to understand. I realized that I need to really get deep into this subject to interpret it the right way. So I changed as a person. Mahabharat has changed me as a person, because our mythology, I call it history though, is something that has a very deep rooted message in whatever you're doing. Those stories were written for a purpose. They were not just for sheer entertainment. They were there for a message. You get to know something through it. There's a underlying subtext to every story. So that really changed my life, because it took me 5 years to make it eventually. And so that's an area which I got into a completely unknown territory. We were making the biggest series on Indian television at that point in time, and with completely inexperienced, a lot of people who had done nothing in that space at all. So that's the next one, which is very close to me. And there are many more such shows that I've. But then
But
again, next
one,
came in
yes,
Porus after that, and then Radha
yeah.
Krishna now. So there are lots of things. Yeah.
So Porus was great because you kept some of the rights, and they were kind enough to allow you to keep the rights, and then you syndicated that to 13 or 14 countries. You also showed it on Hulu in Japan, which was amazing, and then Hulu was actually also reselling it for you in those territories. So that's
Yeah,
great. I mean,
it's done very well in Japan. It's the first Indian series first Indian series ever to air in Japan, and that too on a digital platform called Hulu, which is a worldwide platform. We are aware of that. It's done really well for them, and Force has been another very interesting, exciting journey, because that's the next step that we took in our journey about keeping the investing more into what you create, putting your money where your mouth is, and creating content that you believe in, and taking the risk and going around the world to sell your content. So it's hats off to Mr. NP Singh and Danish Khan to really, really support me with this thought, because if they wouldn't have really supported, this wouldn't have happened, very, very simply put. But yeah, Porous was something that we really put in everything that we had. There was a lot, and there's still a lot riding on it. We've sold it to more than 14 countries now, and it's growing as we speak. So it's very exciting. It's a story that, because people always told me that you're making stories of very known characters, all the very popular characters. What about unknown heroes? Not that known, they are not that widely accepted. Why don't we tell those stories? So that's the reason why we told Porous in a very different way, so that we tell stories of a person who really stood the test of time, who ensured a warrior, a legend like Alexander could not enter India. So that series is very close to my heart.
Fantastic. So when you were going to make Mahabharat, weren't you afraid because it had been made by such a champion way back in the 80s, retelling Mahabharat, and it was on Doordarshan this time, and it got ratings like nobody's ever got in both Ramayana and Mahabharat.
Yeah.
So didn't it daunt you? Weren't you afraid?
No, very, very clearly. I'm not a very, honestly, I'm not a very fearful person as an individual. I try to never let fear take the best side of me. So for me, it's all about, I can't compare with, it's a legendary series. It was made when I was really, really young. And of course, they cannot be compared because it's a classic. It's a classic series, which will always remain a classic. And when we set out to make, it was very, very clear that 25 years have passed on. There's a new generation that's grown up. We need to present and cater to a younger generation and tell a story in a new way and make that story relevant to today's times. And that's exactly was what I wanted to do, and that's what we set out to do. And we made that. And today, when about just the rerun that you spoke about today, Mahabharat again is running on Star Plus as of now, and it's the number one show on pay TV across all India, all channels, and it's got a 3+ rating this week. So I feel very happy that 7 years back, the series that was made today after 7 years is giving such great numbers as well. So I'm very happy. But about comparisons, of course, there would be comparisons. I'm aware that comparisons will always be a part of anybody's life. So that will happen. But you can't be thinking about what others think of you in life. You have to just go ahead and do what you believe in doing, because their thoughts will always change and evolve, because we are human beings. So you need to just be convinced about what you're doing and go ahead and just do it. Because if you think too much of the consequences and outcome, I don't think you'll be able to reach anywhere. So
Fantastic.
these were
Yeah.
things. So that's how we went about doing it.
Well said. I don't think, I think most people who are pioneers, they just forge ahead without thinking of the consequences. One, they have a good idea, they see it through, and they don't get affected by people's comments. So hats off to you for being, how old are you now? You're 42?
Yeah, you're right.
So 42, and that means you went back, your first production was at what age did you make your first production?
I was, I was 30 years old.
Wow, hats off to you. I mean, I don't think many people have I'd like to say the testicles to do something at 30.
No, I was
I don't
lucky.
know.
I think I'm blessed. I'm blessed by my father. I think I'm blessed by my family. I think that's how I've been lucky.
Great. So you went on producing. Then I'm going to ask you a very delicate and sensitive question. You had a parting of ways with your partner, and
Vikas, yeah.
with Vikas, and Vikas is doing some stuff on his own now.
Yeah.
So at that stage, the rumors were that the company is doing very badly. At that stage.
Yeah, we were doing very, very bad. That's true. It was not a rumor. It's true. We were doing very, very badly. We were not able to pay our people for pay salaries for around 5-6 months, and it was all due to Mahabharat, because we were so heavily invested into it, and the project was just not taking off. We had a lot of bad loans. We had taken a lot of things on our head, and the project was just not taking off. And it was years of lot of investments into it, and we were just not in a stage to make any payments. Yeah, it's true. It is true that we were not able to pay, and it was due to Mahabharat, and that's why people were telling me that this is a jinx subject and you should not be making it. Look at what happened earlier. There were a lot of examples flying in. People were not okay. Yeah, that was at that time, definitely.
So what happened? How did you turn around? I mean, it's a great story. your turnaround from being nearly bust, not being able to pay, to being as
Yeah.
successful as you are today. With let's talk about how you turned around, then let's get on to what you're doing currently from there.
I think we were completely bust for certain, and we didn't have anything huge amount of issues like I just told you. But I think the moment we launched Mahabharat and the series started doing well, and we were supposed to make it for 128 episodes in the beginning, but I was unable to tell the story 128 episodes. We extended little bit. Eventually, because of the extensions and Mahabharat doing very well for us on all fronts, on ratings and financially, eventually on finance. So that's how we stayed afloat, and Mahabharat really helped us in getting back on our feet. So
Yeah,
that was a very interesting phase. Yeah.
and it was around that time you met the love of your life,
No,
or
I
a little
was.
later.
No, I met Gayatri in. Gayatri used to write Mata Ki Chauki with another writer, and that's how I met her. And then we got married. I think just before Mahabharat, my son Rohan was born in 2013. In the month of February, he was born, and March we started shooting Mahabharat again. We had started shoot, then we had to stop it again due to some issues, and yeah. So yeah, by that time I was a father. I was 2013. Yeah.
Wow. So what? Tell me something about what you're doing currently. I mean, how did you build this behemoth? You were a marketing person. You were a you know, what happened? You suddenly transformed yourself into this massive company.
No, I just believe that we are still. I can't see you, Anil.
Yeah, you can't see me.
Now I can. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. So it's not like I genuinely believe that we are still at we are a very small company. We are more a family zone. Everybody who works with us is like they are a part of our family. We really take care of our people, because eventually it's people who build you. It's not like, without your people you're a nobody, is what I believe in. And it's just one thing led to another. It's just like post Mahabharat, there was no looking back. We just kept on working as a team. All of us, we were just supercharged about this creation, and we luckily got into a space which was so challenging. It was so exciting to tell these such legendary stories, tell it in a completely new way. You have to think about the visual background, what they wear. How can you tell a Shani story very, very differently than a Radha Krishnan or a Mahabharat? So if you look at these shows, they are in the same space of mythology, but they're completely different. And you get into historicals, you get into Razia Sultan, and then you want to make a Porus, or you want to make a Chandragupta Maurya. They are such distinctly different, though they are historicals and mythologies as we call them. But how do you make them so distinctly different than each other on visual front, on the storytelling front? It was a challenge that we all really loved at Swastik. We just kept on making, we worked non-stop. We just kept on building one after the other. And that's what we did. It's just sheer passion of the entire team at our end. And, and the belief that all the people who worked with us had in us, that helped us grow from there. We just tried our level best to not let anybody down. And that's how we just kept working. There's no substitute to hard work. We still love working. We are a very hardworking company. We work very, very hard on whatever we do. So it continues. So we just kept on doing different things, and one thing led to another. I thought of me, Rahul and me. We had a discussion about how do we, because we
Rahul's
were
your
growing.
brother. Rahul's your brother, who actually
Yeah,
is your who keeps everything in order.
yeah. Rahul's the spine I stand on. So he's my elder brother, to be more specific, uh, because we have this thing. He's just a year elder to me. So, but basically, we were having this discussion about that. We were growing and we wanted to really build sets and build a world that people have not seen. And how do we avoid all the restrictions? So we thought about how do we set up our own shooting facilities. So that's how we started acquiring land and started building our sets on our own properties. So that's then I had the thought of that we should build our own shooting facilities. And now today we have more than 25 shooting floors, which is spread across 25 acres. We have one of the biggest infrastructure that is there on the historical mythology setup, I think, in whole of Western India. I'm not going down south to Ramoji. I think Ramoji studio is much bigger as of now. So we started getting into shooting facilities. So we started building an infrastructure for people. So one thing led to another, and we constantly kept investing into creating our infrastructure on that front. While we were doing a lot of work on the visual effects front, and I was seeing that the control on the final output was missing because of delivery issues in television, and the kind of passion that people also were having. The people who were earlier I had worked with, somehow uh, some had outgrown themselves. So I thought that we should have our own people so that we can control the product that we deliver. So that's how One Life VFX came into existence. We
What,
started building up.
what is One Life? I thought it was Swastik. You're confusing the shit out of me.
No, so Swastik Productions basically is the parent company. We do everything that we do under Swastik Productions, and One Life Studios is basically an offshoot, a subsidiary of Swastik Productions, where we do all our digital work, we do our internet syndication and distribution work, visual effects work. So all the new things that we are getting into, which have more of a global appeal, we are moving in towards with One Life Studios. That's basically the thought, and you are a founder of that as well. You've been really, really helpful in setting up our distribution and syndication in Cannes. So yeah, so that's
Thank
how
you
we
for
started
that.
our.
Appreciate it.
But that's true. You are aware of it. I think the
Sure.
world should know.
Thank you.
So yeah, so that's how we got into our visual effects. We started a visual effects company, and since we started our own work, then we thought that we should now make the company work with others as well, because we have an infrastructure, we have a good team. So we started doing others work. So today the company does a lot of movies. They provide for. They've done a lot of movies in the recent times, including a lot of things that they've done. There's a big list that they've been working on. But the idea was that we are growing in the space we understand. It's a subset of our own core business. So that's how we have basically taken our stretch, that we are into spaces that I believe we understand, and it helps us in overall coming together as an entity. So that's how we've been growing.
Yeah. So, but there's animation. You're forgetting animation. You're
So we just
quite keen
started
on.
animation. I'm not really talking about it because we haven't delivered much on it yet. We've made a few promos. There've been writing going on developing some animation stories. So writing is over. One promo has been made. So now, due to this slowdown, it's just taking a little more time. So that's why I was not talking about it, because I always feel that once you do something, then is the right time to talk about it. Yeah, so that's another thing that we will be getting into in the near future. We will be creating, what we wish to create, characters that sustain much more. Tom and Jerry never grow old, neither do Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse. So we really want to get into a space as we move ahead into creating characters which live much longer than as human beings we do. So that's what we wish to do. So we are working in that direction. We've started our syndication business, which is about selling content, our content and anybody else's content all across the world. So we are distributing movies, we're distributing our shows, others' shows all across the world. We travel to all the biggest markets thanks to you. We've been moving around and being very aggressive in selling, syndicating content to ensuring that Indian series travel across the world. Now what we are also doing there is that we are getting international content to India, because there's a huge requirement of content. So we've acquired some international series, which we are gonna be distributing it to the OTT platforms in India for them to broadcast. So there are different things that we are up to.
Yeah, you forgot digital originals. I don't like the word web series because even the Panwala makes web series. Even everyone's making a web series. Digital
Yeah. So
originals.
yeah. So again, the very fact that I didn't really want to get into digital space just because everybody was making it. It was not like I really didn't feel like I didn't have any great story that I personally wanted to tell. And it took me a long time. It's taken me around close to 1.5 years to write this series that we've just finished before the lockdown. And we were about to start shooting in April, May first week is where, this lockdown has happened. But it's a series for Hotstar. That we're doing, Disney Plus Hotstar now. And it's called Escape Live. It's a very interesting new age series that we're making on the effect of social media apps, and how India is today, and how we're living off our phones, and what happens if an app announces a competition. So it's a
Okay,
very
let's
interesting.
leave the story. Let's leave
No,
the
I'm not
story to
telling
the
you the
audience.
story. I'm just giving you a subtext, the outline of the story. But yeah, so
Fantastic.
that's
So
another series that we're making. We are also doing some more digital series which will take off by the end of the year. I can't really talk about it as of now. So yeah, we're doing a lot of work on the digital front as well.
So, what's your vision for? And then one second, can I see your arm, please? I think there's one life written on your arm.
Yeah,
Can I see your arm?
yeah, there it is for you.
Fantastic, fantastic. I mean, I've got one of my people who's popping up here again and again. Vaibhav, can you get off the fucking? I'm sorry about this, but I'm getting quite pissed off at you. Okay. Sorry about that. Listeners, everybody, I'm sorry, but it really got my goose because he's popping up every 2 minutes. He's putting on his audio and it's disturbing the conversation. And it's not easy to focus and concentrate when you're dealing with a personality like Siddharth Tiwari, who's got so much depth. What's your vision? Where do you see, Swastik come one life going?
See, very clearly, we are moving in the direction of being the best storytellers in this country. That's what we need to do. We are moving towards becoming a media entity which is into different aspects of the media business that we are already in, and we are going to move up further in it. So very clearly, we are a creative company. Our most of our decisions primarily originate from the fact of being so good. It's not about the quantity of work that you do. I've always believed in that it's about the quality of work that you do. So we will always be very, very quality conscious. We are primarily a premium content making company, and we'll continue to be so from a storytelling standpoint. And different aspects of the media business we are already in, and we'll be growing that up as we move ahead. But our core will always be that we are a company. We are out here to tell stories, and we really would give our lives to be the best in what we do. So we just need to better ourselves and become the best in this country. That's what we
Yeah,
need to
but
do.
what you didn't mention also is that you're an investor in a few initiatives by creative people. Do you want to talk about that?
So we have also partnered with some very, very extremely creative individuals. We believed that they had the potential to run their businesses. They just needed some support to guide them on a lot of fronts, and so that they could just go ahead with their vision on how they want to run their company. So we have partnered with a few of them. There are two people we are currently partnered with. One is Raghu and Rajiv, a company called Monozygotic, which basically made this series called Skulls and Roses recently on Amazon Prime. Then we've partnered with Harsha and Romi. Harsha again is an ex television, like she's done a lot of work in television, so we partnered with her as well. So these are the people who are creatively very, very sound, who have their own vision as to how they want to tell their stories. So we just help them in scaling up their business.
Fantastic, great. So let me see if there are any questions from there's a question from Bangladesh. Is it possible for us to work in Bangladesh with you? From Bangladesh. I don't know who this person is.
Yeah, I'm not. So it's definitely we should understand the. I don't really have much of an idea about the Bangladesh market as such, as from a storytelling point of view. So yeah, if there is, I need to understand it, and definitely, why not? It's a story.
Fantastic. So now we are going to go into our second part of our conversation. This is going to be the rapid fire round. Which is your favorite show?
On
Your favorite show? No,
ever.
nothing ever.
Yeah, I'm a very hardcore fan of this series called Breaking Bad. I think the
Fantastic.
characterization of Walter White and the way they have written the whole series and made it, I think it's brilliant. It's really very, very good work from a writing and making standpoint. So I think that's one of my favorite series so far.
Okay, your favorite writer?
In India?
Nothing. No, there are no additional clauses. Your favorite writer, you decide.
I think in writing I have a lot of favorites because I genuinely like
Your favorite writer?
India.
One writer.
I think Rajkumar Rani is one of the best writers ever that our industry in India has ever seen. I think the kind of writing that he does is legendary. The kind of messaging that he does through humor is again something that's really aspirational. I really love Three Idiots, and I love the way he writes.
Fantastic. Your favorite animated movie?
Animated movie.
Yeah,
I like Finding Nemo.
fantastic.
Very cute.
Yeah, I understand. Your favorite film, international and Bollywood?
Favorite film for me in Bollywood is Three Idiots. I really find that I really love that film. I watched it way too many times. Don't even remember how many times I watched it. Um, Internationally, lots of favorites.
One favorite. Pick the best. I know I'm making it hard on you, but
Yeah,
it's okay.
it's a little tough to say which one, but some movie that has had a big impact on me is a movie called Braveheart. I
Fantastic.
think Mel Gibson written and directed movie called Braveheart. Written,
I
I'm
get
not
it.
too sure, but directed movie and acted movie for certain. I think it was brilliantly written, brilliantly made. It had a huge inspirational value for me.
Fantastic. Something that a programming head did that pissed you off.
What?
Something that a programming head did that pissed you off.
No, I genuinely believe that anybody on the other side of the table and who we collaborate with doesn't have the intent to really spoil what you're making. So that's
No,
never the
you're no,
intent.
you're not. No, now you're walking
No, I'm
softly.
just coming to the point. I don't
Yeah.
worry. No, of course there are lots of things, and if you know me well enough, I do get a little aggressive a lot of times when it's unwanted. So there have been instances where I've been
One
really
instance. One instance.
one
Without
instance.
identifying the person. Without identifying the person. If you want to be safe.
It's not about being safe. It's about just respecting the other individual.
Sure.
For it's like someone on the other. I was making this series, and I have a big problem because I'm a micromanager when I'm doing something. From every dialogue to everything that goes in. It's completely. I spend hours and hours and days and months doing it. So when someone turns around and tells me you're not getting my point, the character is not like that, and that's where it just goes completely off. And like, because I have written the character, it's my character, I've built it. After 50 episodes, you can't tell me this is not the character. So those kind of things I get very emotional about. I'm a little touchy and emotional about the work I do. That things are very close to my heart, so I get very agitated if someone really does it. So there have been a lot of instances. It's not like I have also done a lot of mistakes in this journey. I've been quite a difficult one to handle as well. So there have been a lot of instances like this.
Okay. A writer you hate to work with, but you have to.
There's nobody. If I hate to work with you, I will not work with you. This is not possible. I don't need to be forced to work with anybody, because if you're forced to do something, the outcome will never be good. Because I always believe that in a creative field, you if you disconnect with somebody, you should not work with that person, because if you work with that person, the core objective of the creation will go for a toss. It will never be the product that you set out to make. So if it don't connect, I don't think anybody's right or wrong. We are the biggest subjective field in the world. So for me, it's about if we don't connect and we are not on the same page on this subject, or I don't like you as a person, you don't like me as a person, all the best. We can collaborate with a lot of other people and work with them. So I
An
don't work
actor
with
who's
people I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
like.
I know.
I
An
connect
actor
with
who's
or I don't
troubled.
like.
An actor who's troubled you a lot. We all do.
Yeah, there has been one actor who's actually troubled us a lot at one point in time. Yeah, there have been people, but why you take names again? Yeah, it's not correct
You
to
have
take
to.
names
This is
because
this is what this is
no,
what this
people
show is all
people
about.
have different reasons. Everybody is right from their respective point of views. But yeah, there are people who unnecessary troubles are created. There's been an actor who's done that, and whatever had to be done, I've done it. So I've also not. It's been taken care of. It's not like we let it go. So
Okay, you don't want to identify him.
no,
I
because see,
respect that.
Anil, I genuinely believe that I really love my actors. I really love my entire team. I love them. I genuinely love them. It's not fake at all. It's not like I'm doing a favor to them, but they're working with me because they're taking my story ahead. They are the ones who will be seen on screen. If I don't motivate them, if I don't provide them with everything, if I don't make them feel comfortable, answer all their questions, that's how I think. How will they be passionately connected as much to the series as much as I am? So I always really take care of my people, whether it's an actor to a spot boy. I think I really feel that we take care of our
I
people.
know we all know
But
that about you. You're a good human being, but which actor who's troubled you a lot?
no,
If
I'm
you
not
don't want
taking
to, I'll
names.
pass on. Okay, don't take
Yeah,
names. Forget
I'm
it.
not
Let's
taking
move
names.
on.
Yeah.
Okay, are you a writer? a director, or sometimes a wannabe producer, which you leave to your brother?
The reality is that I'm a writer, director, and a producer. I am all three because that's how it is currently, and that's how I started with being a producer. I was not a writer in the beginning. When we made Ambarthara, I was not really writing all the episodes. There were writers writing with me. I was creatively driving the show, and then I worked on myself, and I acquired the I used to write stories and I used to write episodes because the different talent in writing television episodes and television stories. So I became a writer in due course of time, and then I started directing. So it's been a journey for me. I have after becoming a producer, I moved towards becoming a writer and a director because that's what I wanted to do. So that's what's been my journey. So I'm all three
But
currently.
which hat makes you the most comfortable?
Yeah, I think direction and writing are they are like there's nothing better than that because I'm in a field where I do something and it's out there for the world to see, and then they can just say anything. They can just abuse you, saying what bad work you've done, or something that you thought was really nice. Someone just looked and said, really, it's average. So your work is out there for people, and all I look forward to is somebody saying, well done, yeah, great work, great work. That's what we live for. That's why we've come here. I don't think we've come here to build empires of billions. That's not why I've come here. I've come here to tell stories and let people tell you that, oh, great work, yeah, good work. I like the way what you do. I think that is what I aspire for. So that's the most important thing in my life.
Fantastic. When are you most inspired?
I'm most inspired when I read up and see legends. I really try to understand what goes behind creating these legendary people who've done such great work over centuries and years. And so the journey from what all goes into being consistent in their lives, so that they are constantly delivering, because it's not about uh, waking up and telling one good story and then thinking that, oh, I've done a great work in my past and moving ahead. It's about look at legends like Amitabh Bachchan. After 50 years in the industry, he still wakes up and goes to the sets and tells people what am I supposed to do today? Can I do it this way? So the consistency that is needed. A cricketer who scored a century in the previous match, he comes again, he's 0-0. It doesn't matter. He can't live in the laurels of the past. So I believe with an average of 55, you're Tendulkar. So you don't need to be 100 or 100. You need to be 55 in life to become a legend and be consistent. And the toughest part, that's why I really respect people who consistently keep on working with the same amount of dedication, same amount of passion, because that I believe is very, very difficult. It's not easy to get up. Look at Salman Khan, such a legend. He still gets up and they go to work and they really do it to the best of their ability on that particular day. So I think there are lots of these legends, and
You haven't
Michael
mentioned
Jordan.
you haven't mentioned Roger Federer. You haven't
My
mentioned
my
Rafael Nadal.
I was just coming to my biggest Roger Federer. Look at him at 38 playing tennis, at that to singles. I'm learning how to play tennis. I don't call myself a tennis player, but I love that sport and I do play tennis and playing singles. And I also only play singles as of now. Of course, I'm trying to play, but at 38 playing a Wimbledon final is not a joke. It's not something that can happen. It's not a coincidence, or it's not something that you just got lucky with. It requires a huge amount of work. So a legend like Roger Federer, I really love. I get inspired by people who just do something that is completely off. You don't really think that you can go there, but like Michael Jordan, they just take it somewhere else altogether. So I think sports people I really, really admire. I really admire legends in sport. I think that it takes a lot to retire at 30. How can you be living a life when you retire at 32? In tennis, 32 you retire. Imagine you built a career by 32 you retire. So it takes a lot for those people to be legends. So I really respect and get inspired by
Okay,
these
okay.
people.
I'm going to test your tennis knowledge. Your favorite 70s tennis player, male and female. I know you were probably an
No, I'm
infant then.
thinking I'm thinking 70s.
Yeah.
70s. Now you've gone into 70s. It's like
Yes, I wanted to
before I
make
was
it tough for
born.
you. I know,
Uh,
but you're a tennis fan.
no, so
I can throw
I
up tons
always
of names.
no, of course I know all the name, but I would not know it's 70s or 80s. So I'm just getting a little thing on that. But I have always admired, I have really, really have you watched this movie called Bog versus McEnroe?
Yes.
You know so this guy called John McEnroe, I would find him damn interesting. I think the kind of aggression he had and the passion he had towards the game. I think he was very, very good. I should like Boris Becker a lot. While my growing
Boris
up
Baker's
days,
a child of the
yeah,
80s and 90s.
yeah. So that's the time when I was a
No,
child. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So in 70s, I think definitely 70s must be. Are you talking about the Rod Laver time, or are you talking
No,
about
Rod
I don't
Laver's
know,
before. I'm talking about Jimmy Connors. I'm talking
Jimmy
about
Connors and
Bjorn Borg. I'm
yeah,
talking about
Bjorn
Chris
Borg
Evert
and
Lloyd.
yeah, yeah. I used to like John McEnroe a lot. Just the way he
There
used
was
to get
Billie
angry.
Jean King.
Billie
You know,
Jean King on women's side. Yeah,
John McEnroe was the bad boy of tennis. He would
yeah,
abuse, like I just did a short while ago. So
yeah, yeah.
I
But it
mean,
was
used to
cute.
fight
I
with the
think it was very cute.
empires. But he was a great player, fantastic,
Yeah.
aggressively player. That's what I thought. Now,
Hmm.
anyway, I got you on that one. I knew more than you, so it's one up on me, despite you playing tennis. So I started playing tennis when you were probably in your shots.
Yeah, you used to play.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
yes, I
Oh,
used to play way back when I was 16, 17. But and I
okay.
was also a tennis commentator for All India Radio and for Doordarshan. But that's another time. It's not about me. It's about you. What's something that if you could switch professions, what would you become?
I would be sports. I would be. I can only play sports. I only like sports apart from what I do. That's it. I would play
Okay,
tennis. It's a sport that I never played. I was always my
but
brother
you're
used.
great at table tennis too with your brother. You'll play a mean game.
Yeah, me and Rahul are very competitive on table tennis. We play. Actually, we are good at sports. Whatever we do, we are good at sports. Naturally, we are little sports oriented. So, yeah, that is a good part. But apart from what I do, which is I think I'm blessed to do what I do, but sports is something that really excites me.
Okay, if you were to be something else in the industry, what would you be?
Something else in the industry.
Yeah. What would you be? You've been a program, you've been on marketing, you've done programming, you've done advertising, you've done production. What would you do? What would you
See,
be if not?
I did all of it, all of that you just
So,
mentioned to do what I'm
yeah, so
doing
what
now.
could you be? I know, but what could
You
you
know,
do aside from
I
this?
was trying to reach where I am today through all those things which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do that at all. I was just doing it
So I'm telling you
to
now, what would you do aside from what you've done and what you are doing? What would you do professionally in the industry?
you know, very honestly, Anil, I wish I had another answer for it. But since I was a child, I always wanted to do what I'm doing now. So for
Okay.
me, it was always single point agenda. How do I get out of my city? How do I come to Bombay city? How do I make my way from here? I don't really know anybody. There is no way that's charted out for me. So we need to make our own way. So for me, there was never any other alternative. All my life earlier, I was trying to get to a way that I could reach here. So for me, I don't think I can do anything else. This is what I love to do, and I think I'm very happy that and blessed that I'm able to do what I wish to do. So
Okay. Well,
I don't have a plan B on
fantastic.
this at all. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We will let that pass. What's the best thing that has happened to you professionally?
Professionally, okay.
Yeah. I'm coming to the personal questions later.
Yeah, professionally, I think the best thing that has happened to me is, you know, because I'll tell you, because when we wanted to tell the story of Ambardhara, I had no intentions of becoming a producer, right? Because I just wanted to tell a story. It could have been made by somebody else. It didn't really matter to me who was making it. Uh, but the whole accidentally turning into a production house has been the best thing that has happened to us today. Thanks to that, you know, we are able to do what we really want to do. If you want to just go out and make something, there are some things that we're just creating. It gives us a lot of belief in what you want to create. So Swastik Productions, I think, is the best thing that's happened to me
What's
professionally.
the worst? What's the worst? Now, don't come with a positive answer.
No, I'm not. I'm just thinking, what's the worst that has happened professionally to me? Some things that I really wished and I wanted. Yeah, I think it goes. Everybody goes through it. You know, you don't know the outcome of what you're creating, but when you don't get the desired results, and when you set out, it's really heartbreaking. And you know, and something, uh, you know, things that don't really work, which you thought they should. It's something that's really, really heartbreaking. So professionally, yeah, professionally, all the uh, because we've got a very exciting journey. So professionally, when even my partner Vikas left, that time was a very bad time. Uh, because it's not like we fought and we had great number of drama and issues. It was just like we were two different individuals, and somehow in the journey he decided that he wants to move on his own. So that's how we separated. So those times were really professionally bad when we were not able to pay. There was our people for such a long 3-4 months. We were paying little money sometimes. Then there was a time again when the industry had shut down. If you remember, some 10, 12
Yes.
years back, and we had great outstanding, a lot of money to be paid, and we were not getting our payments from the broadcaster then, and some issues whatsoever. As always, at that point in time, again, we were going through a very, very bad phase. So yeah, so those times of professionally, but those learnings actually have really helped, because if I didn't have those experiences early on, today, it's like we figure out a way through everything. So that's been very nice. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
professionally, never very bad time that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, favorite funny moment that happened to you in your career?
Favorite funny moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of funny things keep happening. Yeah, we are in such a funny field in itself.
Favorite. Something which you quip about and you laugh about.
Yeah, I still remember this very interesting one. Yeah, this is my favorite. I got it now. So when we were out to make Mahabharat, this is a very interesting story. Uh, and I really wanted these swords to look very different than whatever has been made today, because we are making a new age series, right? Completely inexperienced, lot of
Yeah.
people. And there is a place called Muradabad in India. Have you heard of Muradabad?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Muradabad is the place where the complete steel, this manufacturing happens in India. It's the core. So I sent my team member to Muradabad so that we can engage a real like, I wanted a samurai looking sharp sword which looks so good on screen, because that's the kind of new age content we wanted to make. So after really discussing, talking to the Muradabad person, the designs were made, the molds were created over there. My person lived there for more than a month, and this massive sword was created, which like was beautiful looking because it was designed on paper, and months had gone into discussion, and photographs would come and small feedbacks. I wanted the shloks to be written on the sword. Eventually, when the sword came,
Yes.
it was 25 kilos weight. Nobody could lift it,
who could, who you'd need a Dada Singh or you'd need a
because
Goliath to lift it.
it was an original sword made by people in Muradabad. It was so huge and it was so heavy, we could not even lift it.
How
And
many people did you need to lift it?
we needed 2-3 people to just lift the sword to see, because it was such, we didn't think about the weight, we didn't think about anything. We just wanted a big sword that someone holds it and looks great on screen. It was so funny when it came, and I was really looking forward to it. It had come, and eventually it came in a tempo, because it was so heavy. It came in those small little tempos, and I was standing outside my office to see it. Okay, it's come, I'm coming out. I came out to see it, and I just saw it beautiful. I wanted to pick it up. I just couldn't lift it. And every time, that was one. There are many such stories. I've waited. There are many funny stories which happen on shoots. So there are so many things that happen. Uh, it will just be
Yeah.
never ending.
So
But
what
this one
happened
is,
about?
every time,
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm a little happy. I remember this story about that legendary sword that I wanted to make, and due to all our inexperiences, what we made was a real massive sword which nobody could lift ever. So that's
did
one
you
very
save
funny
the
story.
sword? Did you save the sword? Because I went to Mukesh Khanna's
Yeah,
office, who plays
it's still
Bhishma
there.
Pitama. It's still there,
Hmm.
friend. I'll come and see it someday. But Bhishma Pitama Mukesh Khanna, if you go to his office, he
Yeah.
still has that bed of arrows with him on which he lay during the scenes in Mahabharat. He still
Yeah, no,
has it.
I don't really, I'm not really kept things in my house and all of that, because
No, it's
I
his
think of,
office. He's kept
yeah,
it
his
because he
office. Okay,
says,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
it's memorabilia which he doesn't want to get rid of because he said that's what really defined India at that time. So
yeah. That's
have you
true.
kept this sword? Have you kept this sword or not? Or
Yeah,
is it?
it must be there in our go down somewhere. I'm sure it must be there. I don't remember that, but yeah, it must be there somewhere.
Mukesh has actually got a glass cage, which he, when you go and visit him, he shows you the bed of arrows, and you feel so nostalgic because as children we watched those scenes and we watched Bhishma Pitama lying on the bed of arrows for so many episodes, and our heart went out to the battle on the field and to the fact that he had to be on that until he wished to die.
Mm.
So, but anyway, let's move on from that. I'm just going to ask you a question, and I'm going to stop for a minute now, and I'm going to ask you: has the COVID situation meant that you had to lay off people, cut salaries, or are you, or you have how many employees now? 200 or 160 or 150 or?
Yeah, I don't. For me, I don't think we've not laid off anybody. We don't. Because this situation currently is really tough times for all of us. So what we've done is definitely we've deducted salaries for people from the month of April onwards, and we are just ensuring that we all stay together through it and just survive and then figure a way forward. So that's what all of us are wanting to do. We're taking care of people like in Umargaon, which is our base, which is in Gujarat, 2.5 hours from Bombay. Uh, Very interesting thing happened because people have been working with us for more than 6-7 years. So eventually, since they were living there, they've left their houses in Bombay, and more than close to 200 people didn't have a house to go when this whole pandemic took off and the lockdown happened. And since they didn't have a house to go, and since they were living in the accommodation that's provided by us and it's all rented and all of that, today around 200 people are still living in Umargaon, where we are taking care of their food, shelter, everything, because they don't have a place to go. So that's what we are doing currently, just taking care of people as much as we can do, and whatever we can do, and stay in it together and figure a way forward from here, I believe, in a few months from now.
Okay.
So
Now, yeah, thank you. I mean,
we
it's
haven't
really
laid off
honorable.
anybody.
So honorable, well done, and keep up that good work. When at a time when across the industry, I think media companies, entertainment companies, people are being actually chopped off and laid off, and I agree with you that they will, if we have to sustain our companies for the long run, everyone has to tighten their belts and possibly take a hit because we don't know how long this pandemic is going to take to get over. Is it going to be by May end? Is it going to be by June end, July end, October? People are saying it's going to be something we're going to live with, and it's not going away very soon. And therefore, and if the economy is not really chugging ahead, money is not going to flow, and hence we have to all stick together and be ready for belt tightening. Now, I'm going to give you a little test right now. You
Another
know,
test.
yeah, another. There's a lot more coming. I mean,
Okay.
it's going to be fun now. So, I'd like you to come up with You've done a lot of mythological shows. You've read a lot. You work with a lot of good writers, and you're a writer yourself. So, I'd like you to come up with 5 uncommon classical Indian Hindu names right now. Classical, which are not well known at all.
Which are not very well known.
Yes,
Classical.
well known Indian names. Or let's say I'll leave it open. All mythology, not just Indian.
Well, there are lots of people who are not. There are huge amount of.
Yeah, I need 5. I need you to come
You
up
need
with 5.
5 names. Okay.
Two men, 2 women, and a child.
Have you heard of Ahilya Bai Holkar?
That's not classical. I'm going back further. That's
Further
more
back.
recent. Yes, I'm talking about classical, real classical. Going back into mythological times.
Oh, that time. So that way, they are. See, at that point in time, if I talk about Mahabharat, there's Barbarik, a very, very important, very interesting
Continue.
story
5
of.
names. Two. I need not from the same mythological thing, but from
Uh,
different mythological or different, across, not from the
Times.
same. Yeah, 5 names. 2 men, 2 women, and a child.
Men, 2 women. So men-wise, you can just talk about Barbaric story, which is a very interesting story. I believe it needs to be told in different ways as we move ahead. And much before that, before the Mahabharat stories, the time of Mahabharat, Yayati. Have you heard of Yayati?
No, but continue. So Yayati,
Yayati is
Babarik,
the is
Baba.
14 generations before the Mahabharat generation.
Okay, so Babarik, Yayati, and 2 women.
Yayati. Now you said 2 women. 2 women who stood very interesting. Have you heard of? I don't know whether you. Uh, Rati. Have you heard of Rati?
Rati. Next.
Huh?
Next.
Okay.
Rati, Yayati, Babarik.
And to women, I always found, Uttara's story very interesting.
So Rati, Uttara, Babarik,
And
Yayati,
a child.
and
And
a
a
child.
child. Child. The Prahlad story is very interesting.
So Prahlad, let's
Mm.
let's let's now your challenge is to weave a story around this that has never been told before, around these five characters.
More to tell a story right now.
Yeah, yeah. This is the creative challenge.
Yayati. Okay, what all did I say? Yeah, Yayati, Barbarik.
Babarik, yes.
Uttara.
Rati, Uttara, and Prahlad.
Wow.
I know I've put you on the spot.
No, it's like I'm just thinking because they're very diverse as characters.
Forget the characters. Now do a story around that time. Come up with a story around that time, which needn't be strictly those characters. I'm giving you a little leeway.
hmm.
So I did that with Sandeep Sikand during Content Hub. I
I
threw a
know
little thing at him and I told him weave a story.
Sandeep is
And
very nice.
yeah,
Yeah, so Yayati was really in love with Rati. Okay. He was a little older. He was around 57. And it happened to be his birthday also today. Yayati was there. Um, he was very, very, and he wanted to remain young. I don't know whether you know the Yayati story. He wanted to remain young and he wanted youth all his life.
okay,
So he looked at Barbarik, who was this beastly man who really had so much power that he could finish any battle with just two. I'm not very sure, I'll be wrong, but he was so powerful that he could have finished the battle of Mahabharat in 2 seconds, and that was the reason why Krishna eventually removed him from the battle. That's his story. So Barbarik was this jungle ape man, who was so bloody strong and powerful that this Yayati's daughter called Uttara was completely in love with Barbarik, and there was this child, the younger kid was Prahlad, and Prahlad really wanted uh, some nonsense. I'm telling
but it's okay. Go ahead. You're being very, very brave, and I appreciate that, and
you.
I'm sure
No,
the
actually,
audience appreciates it.
yeah, Prahlad always wanted his Yayati always wanted his son Prahlad to really be somewhere around him so that he was very jealous of his son's youth. I think that is what was a very interesting part of his story. I'm just taking the real story from there. And he really wanted his son's youth, and Prahlad was such a nice boy that he was okay to give his youth to his father. All right, and then came in Barbarik, and Barbarik really believed that this is all complete nonsense, and it's not really connecting. I think it's okay.
Okay,
That's where
but
we end it. We'll move ahead.
fantastically well
Yeah.
done. I must compliment you. Now we're going to go to the personal section quickly. Your
Okay.
favorite woman. You better be careful on this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt on that. There's only Gayatri Gill. I think that's very, very. There's no question on that because she's somebody who's really been we've really been through it all together. So she's somebody who really I think defines me in a lot of ways. I don't think I would have been able to do anything uh, if the support of Gayatri wasn't there. So it's not possible.
Fantastic. Your favorite man,
Man,
personally. Yeah, I know. I'm not insinuating anything, by the way.
you know, uh, man, as in like, so my brother, my friends, these are all very, very important people in my life. The people who work with me, Nitin, Amol,
One
Siddharth,
favorite man.
a lot of them. Favorite man, see, my favorite man always would be my father. I think it's his blessings because of him that I'm here. So he's one man who I idolize and I still do. He's the most important man and will always be in my life.
Okay.
Hmm.
When you sleep,
I sleep in the morning. I'm not a night person. I'm not a morning person. I sleep very late. I'm a night person, so I sleep around 4 5 o'clock every day. So that's the time I go to sleep.
fantastic. When do you wake up?
Yeah, within 5.5 hours to 6 hours from the time I sleep. So it's can be any time. So 5.5 6 hours is what I sleep. I need to make it
Okay,
8, but I've not been able to.
fantastic. What's your idea of a perfect date with the love of your life, your wife, Gayatri?
Perfect date. Been married for 10 years. In case you didn't know.
No,
So,
I'm-
perfect date. I believe this just. I think she loves beaches, so going to a very interesting beach side would be the best thing to do with her, because she loves it. She's a complete beach person. It's such that I'm a mountain person, but I've not been to a mountain in the last 10 years. I've always gone towards Goa or any of the beaches in Maldives and like all across the world, but not to a mountain. Yeah, so I think just being with her without the kids would be a great time to have on a beach, which should be. I
fantastic.
love Maldives. I think Maldives is very good.
Fantastic. Son, daughter,
Son or daughter? Son and
son,
daughter.
daughter, son, daughter, son and
Son
daughter. Well said.
and daughter. Yeah, son and daughter. In that the order, I think there's a, as I'm sure you got a daughter as well. You would understand it better. For me, the daughter is just 3 years old. So for me, it's a very different father-daughter equation that I'm experiencing as she's growing up. Yeah, but my son's very nice. He's a gentle, good boy. The daughter is very, very, very naughty. So son and daughter, definitely.
Or daughter and son. Which one?
Daughter and son. I think it's okay. They'll be fine
Okay.
with it as long as
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Sweet or savory? Sweet or
sweet,
salt?
sweet, sweet, 100%
Okay.
sweet. Mm.
One vice you'd like to give up?
Smoking.
Okay.
Yeah, I smoke.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm a yeah, I smoke. That's the worst habit that I could ever pick up, and I've
I
not
thought
been
you
able
gave
to
it
give
up.
up.
I thought you gave
No,
it up.
no. These have all been really half-hearted efforts. They're all excuses. I have not been able to give up.
Okay. Window or aisle seat?
Window.
Okay, great. What makes you smile?
So I think what makes me smile.
Yeah, think
I think
about
good.
it.
Yeah, I don't know. What makes me smile? Anything that's yeah, that's something that smiling is very natural. Why do you need reasons to smile? You should just be happy. Why do you
No,
need reasons to smile?
it could be a
You
kid.
can
It
just
could
smile.
be
You can just
okay, but
smile and just be normal and smile. It's okay. It's good to smile. You don't. There can
okay.
be
Your
reasons to
favorite
get
brand?
angry. Huh?
Yeah, your favorite brand.
Even brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Onitsuka Tiger. I love their shoes. I have hundreds of them.
Oh,
I wear.
fantastic.
That's the brand of shoes I wear since at least last, I think, more than 10 years. I think it's just the brand I wear. Most of my shoes are from that brand. I love those brands, and I'll gift you one. I have been gifting
Okay,
that brand to a lot of people. That's a
fantastic.
very,
So,
very comfortable shoe. Yeah, it's
yeah,
very, very
and they're
nice.
very expensive ones. I've seen them, some of them, and though, of course, coming back. No, no, it's all about you, not about me. Thank you. A piece of clothing you can't do without. Won't leave home without.
Won't leave home without my underwear.
Yeah. Okay, I expected that. Gucci or Versace? Versace.
None.
Which one?
If you ask me one, then definitely Gucci.
Great. What are you currently reading?
I'm reading this very interesting book called Karma.
Okay.
It's by Jaya Mishra. She's my sister as well. She's written this bestseller. So I'm reading this book as of now. And a very interesting book again that I'm reading is a book called Open. It's the story of Andre Agassi.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It's a story about his life as to how he never wanted to become a tennis player and how his father made him one and what happened in his journey. So these are two
Yeah.
things that I'm reading currently.
He's also married to one of my favorite tennis players, Steffi Graf.
Ah, Steffi Graf is a legend. She's
Yeah,
too good.
absolutely.
Hmm.
She got him in order, a lot in order, also helped him get in order.
Yeah.
Your first film that you remember?
First film.
That you remember?
Yeah, I think it was Mr. India.
Mr. India. Great.
Yeah, I think it
I
was
think
Mr.
Boni
India.
would be very happy about this. The first TV show you remember?
TV show.
Yeah, you remember.
Zaban Sambhal Ke.
Zaban Sambhal Ke.
What is
Wow.
Zaban Sambhal? No, I'll tell you. Dekh Bhai Dekh. I used to watch
Dekh
Dekh Bhai
bhai.
Dekh. Yeah. Shekhar
Okay.
Suman, and yeah, I used to watch that show.
Okay.
Hmm.
What's the one talent you wish you had?
Yeah, I wish I could I could be calmer in a lot of situations.
Okay.
I wish I could be calmer in a lot of situations and not be impulsive and just react. I think I need to cut down on my reaction, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I just wish I'm a little calmer and in in very important situations. Yeah,
Anything that made you cry because you were happy?
yeah. I think the when you put in years of effort into making something, and when you finally see the light of the day, it makes you cry. So it's happened when you see your baby being born, you do cry. When you see when you do get married for the first time again. So you get married, you do feel like what's happening. So these are like happiness moments of your life which you will always remember, and they will make you shed a tear for certain.
Wow. So something that you've indulged in which you would never do again. An indulgence. Was your Wimbledon an indulgence? Your
No,
Wimbledon
not
trip?
at all. Not at all. I will do it. I I couldn't afford it earlier, and I wish to do it all my life. It's taken me 40 years to do it. So yeah, I think that was indulgence. Indulgence. I'm not a very. I don't think I'm a very indulgent person on things, but
Something that your wife Gayatri thought was you were indulging. That would be a straightforward.
yeah, she thinks that all our plans are always like these small little plans about how we'll do this in a very nice way and we'll make it very interesting. And when I come in, I make those plans bigger, and it becomes like let's do it this way and that way. So she thinks that I'm quite indulgent on. So when we travel, I feel that we should travel in the best possible way and do the best things that we can afford as of now. And we can't, it's okay, it's fine. But she likes to keep things small, and she thinks I always make things bigger. And I keep telling her that I'm born to make things big. But yeah, so that's the whole thing. She likes to keep things very small and limited. She's zero expense, no cost to her at all. She's like very simple on that way. But yeah, I like brands. I like things that are
So your
very.
indulgence, one indulgence, which you
Yeah,
might
I
never
buy,
do
like I
again.
said, I buy a lot of shoes. I buy a lot of shoes.
But
I
you
think
keep doing
every.
it. Is that an indulgence or something which is a
Yeah, I keep
necessity?
doing it. I'm still every now they're not delivering, but still I've gone online and ordered that whenever the lockdown opens, they deliver first to me. So just to give
Fantastic.
you an idea, that's what I do.
Okay.
So I've done that
Okay.
as well.
One joke you'd like to share with us, and I will let you go after this because I think you must be a little tired with this
A
long
joke.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had a very jokey person.
So
Hmm.
you'll never do a comedy, will you?
No, no, I'm quite, I think quite funny, but I don't know, I'm just thinking about a joke per se. It's like suddenly tell me a joke. You're like,
No, that's what it is all about.
tell me a joke. Okay,
That's
I
that's
will
what
tell you
that's
a
what
joke.
that's what evenings with Anil Vanwari is about,
Yeah, so
or virtual firesides with Anil Vanwari.
Anil Vanbari is a legend. I must tell you, happy birthday, Anil.
Oh,
How did I? It's your birthday today, and
thank you
we
very
just
much.
thought of still doing this fireside chat on your birthday, which is a special day, and but you made it even more special for me because I remember this. But you should have not. It's so nice of you to do it. You're such a legend. I still remember in my Sony days, I used to see you coming in with your Indian television, how you were working on growing your business and how you were working towards building Indian television. To from there, you started Indian Telly Awards. So I've seen it all. You've done so much for the industry over the years, representing
You still
our
have to tell me
country.
the joke. You still have to tell us the joke.
The joke. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that, but you still
I
have to tell
recall
us the
one.
joke.
Mm. Um, I yeah, what is a joke? Yeah, I don't really have a list of jokes apart from really stupid ones. I don't
So
really
tell
have a
us a
list.
stupid one. What joke do you tell your kids?
I tell them really stupid things.
Tell us stupid things.
I keep telling my daughter that if you shut your eyes and you sleep, there'll be a unicorn that will come. And she just smiles because she's such a girl. She likes a unicorn with pink hair, and she wants blue tail, and she wants the unicorn to come flying. So I keep telling them stories about completely imaginative stories. They are not joke. They're not joke. It's just an imaginative story about how a unicorn will come, how it will come and lick you and give you so much love while you are sleeping. So you need to go and sleep. So there are a lot of things that I do with. Sometimes I do with my kids. So
So they're cutely funny. They're cutely funny in a way.
yeah, they're like
Yeah.
fun. You have to
Whatever.
make
Yeah.
your children, yeah, imagine things. So yeah, we try, and Gayatri reads books to them. So it's like quite an interesting time. We try to build their imagination.
So thank you very much, Siddharth, for
Thank you
the
so much,
time that
Anil,
I've
on your
had.
birthday
I
to
mean,
be here.
you're a good human. You're a family man. You're a successful businessman, and you take care of people. You have that human touch. Thank you very much. I'm sure the audiences love this, and thank you, audience, the thousands of views of viewers who've been watching this for the past hour and 20 minutes. It's been wonderful chatting with them. It's wonderful bringing it to you all. Thank you, Siddharth, and may you have a wonderful evening, and let us see through this entire pandemic. And let's hope our economy really, improves so that the industry, which is currently kind of looking, a little shaky, gets back to what it was before in real fiery mode. Thank you very much, and goodbye to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
On your
very much.
special day. I wish you the
Thank you.
best always. Huh?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.